Hi, I'm Winston.
And I'm Nick.
And welcome to the Real Estate Template. So what's up today?
I've got some questions, guys. We talked about the pig farm, possibly. And
you was worried about the environment.
Yeah, I was worried about the environment. Also, I mean, the overall difficulty level.
Go back and look at that video because I am not worried about the environment for a pig farm.
Right? The overall difficulty of a pig farm. There's a lot to do on it. And I don't necessarily plan on staying on Andy's land forever. So if I was to leave, I would just be strapping him down with.
No, you just have to take your pigs with you.
That is, if I do find a place to do that. I might be renting an apartment at some point, you know? So like, if that's the case, then I wouldn't want to strap Andy down with, while he's got a full-time job and a family and a pig farm. Like, there's just a lot more to that. So I didn't want to have that possibly happen where I strap him down with that. I was thinking of a cleaner way of doing things. Takes up a lot less space.
Oh, that's a cleaner way of doing things. That sounds so millennial to me. You're not millennial though.
I'm on the cusp of, it's like millennial and Gen Z. I'm the exact year that they debate on.
Okay.
1996.
Okay.
That's
I come from the era where we still burned the tires when they come off the car. You didn't throw them in the dump, you just burned them.
Yeah, you can't do that.
That was a great way to start a fire. You could start a fire good with a tire.
Yeah, people still do, especially on our own land. I think we've done it once.
It's against the law. You can't do that.
I don't think we did it even once.
That's that right answer.
Yeah. So
what we're looking at?
My idea is hydroponic tower farming. So I could take it to farmers markets. There's a lot of farmers markets, especially as a proof of concept here with one tower.
So this is a real estate investing podcast.
Absolutely.
Is this going to eventually link back to real estate investing?
Yeah, this is.
Okay, so don't shut it off when Nick talks about hydroponics.
Yeah.
Don't shut it off. Just let's hear what he says, and we will debate this issue.
You're right though, because my why is eventually getting into investing in real estate with rental properties or building a house, anything like that. But I need some supplemental income to accrue what I need as a down payment to be able to make these types of moves.
Okay.
So my method of doing so, on top of just working and whatever we've been able to do, and my clients also having another thing in order to take it over the edge, so that I could actually accumulate an extra $20,000 a year.
Do you have a client right now that's doing this? That you're working with?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I got 2 filmography jobs. So, and then I also pick up other jobs for businesses, just doing instructional videos.
I'm just validating you're not speaking out your butthole. You're speaking that there's some stuff backing up what you're talking about.
Absolutely. Okay. And then, so this is something that has to fit certain parameters of my time, my own knowledge, my capabilities, the space, and then how much money it can make, and hopefully be scalable, so that I could get to $20,000 a year extra just selling at farmers markets, kind of every weekend or every other weekend, something like that.
So this episode may really interest you out there that are green earthers.
Yeah.
Is that a term?
Green earthers. Sure.
I like it.
Nowadays.
I used to love that movie Green Acres, TV show Green Acres growing up.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you would know what I'm talking about. But
I have no idea.
Yeah, it was a good one.
It was a TV show?
Good little TV show.
Like,
kind of corny in today's world, but it was good back then.
When was back then?
Okay. We'll talk about that a little later. Probably get a little bored with that part.
Gotcha. So a hydroponic tower kind of looks like this.
And that's PVC pipe at the top, right?
Yeah.
I've seen them on the internet and stuff like that.
Yeah. So they've got these holes
and that's
here.
Water in the bottom.
There's the water here. Now, they grow broccoli or lettuce out of these, right? And you can kind of yield a lot out of a tower. And this is only, a couple feet, maybe like 5 feet or less, depending on what you actually get. So I think that this is a $800 piece of equipment. We're just gonna leave that
for
there.
one.
For one.
For one tower.
For one tower, costs $800.
Okay.
I was going to add probably about $200 for any extra setup that I would need for nutrients for the water, because it's not just water, it's actually a solution that helps these particular plants grow. So I have some control with the solution of water, whereas if I was just planting in the ground, I don't really have control over how much nutrition's in the ground, already in the ground, and it's a lot harder to get a consistent yield, and especially if it turns into a business where I have X amount that I'm trying to produce at a certain quality level, this mitigates a lot of my risk on what my end up yield is going to be. So for $1,000, right? This is $1,000. That's the full on investment.
Okay.
How much money per month can I make on one tower? Certain lettuces can be 4 weeks to yield $300 at a farmer's market. How many times do I have to go to the farmer's market before I pay for my $1,000
So you're saying
asset?
if you filled that up with lettuce, all the holes had lettuce coming out of it.
Right.
4 weeks later,
4
you would
weeks
be
later.
able to yield $300 worth of sales.
Mm-hmm.
What about the cost of the nutrients and stuff?
Right. So for each grow, that $200 would be spread over a couple of grows.
Okay, so we got to take $100 off of that $300, so that makes $200 in profit, or no?
Yeah, I would say all expenses of the sort for each 4 weeks is probably about 100.
So about 100 on expenses, okay?
So we made $200.
Okay.
That 200, how many times? We'd have to do 5 weeks, and then we fully pay off our $1,000 investment from the very beginning. Then we're in profit from there on out on that particular asset.
But the $200 will continue to grow. The $200 profit every 4 weeks.
Correct.
Okay. So what that will yield is $2,600 a year
Yeah.
per station, because there's 13 4-week periods in a year. We discussed that earlier today on talking about interest rates.
Yes.
So 13 times 200 would be $2,600 a year.
2,600.
Now that is not taking any labor or anything else into consideration, correct? That's your labor being free. That's the water being free. That's the gasoline to take it to market being free. That's being at market and being able to get full price, because as it gets a little age on it, once you pull it, now we're looking at having to discount the price to sell it at the farmer's market.
Yeah.
And the farmer's market, chances are every 4 weeks you're going to lose 1 day at the farmer's market of your time selling it. Okay. So how many of these would you be wanting to do total?
So where it becomes scalable is, and if I was to do it all by myself, it yielded 2,600. So essentially, I'm not taking a profit or keeping any of the money that it makes for a little while, because I have to scale and reinvest and reinvest. It's a 5-year plan by myself to eventually get to about 100 of these.
Now, to manage 100 of those, would it require an employee now?
There's a high possibility, but
So if you hire an employee, okay, let's talk about what's your profit at that 5-year period of time with 100 of those? 2,600 times 100?
Yeah.
So 26,000 a year?
26 times, no, it'd be $260,000 a year. There's some wiggle room for a $40,000 employee.
What will the facility look like that you got to buy to house that, to do that? How big of a facility are we talking?
For infrastructure and facility, these can be outside during certain months of the year, like maybe 2 months. It might be very difficult to grow certain things. What can grow at 18 degrees Fahrenheit. Not very many things. They kind of lay dormant. They don't die, but they lay
So
dormant.
the 200 may drop in the wintertime,
Right.
where you, especially in Tennessee, because we have a couple months that are not extremely cold, but cold enough you're not going to grow a whole lot outside.
Exactly. So if there was a warehouse in an indoor facility, then we wouldn't have to worry about that. But these can be outside.
But then you got to heat that facility, and
Yeah, there's a bunch of
you
expenses
got
when
to
it comes
do,
to that.
if it's not a greenhouse environment, then you got to light it and other stuff. Okay.
So yes, there's a crap ton of infrastructure on that end. If you were to go into a house,
Give us your input throughout the video. You can comment on this 3 or 4 times throughout the video and let us know, hey, at this point I feel this way, and then that may change a couple of sentences later and we talk about it again. So it's kind of cool. So that would turn into a full-time job for you and a full-time job for somebody else. So what I look at is I look at vehicles got to be purchased to go to farmer's market. This has to be purchased, that's got to be purchased. And I'm not going to say that can't turn into a good business. How would that be any different than just being a farmer and just planting it in the ground?
this, well, for the very beginning, I guess, maybe it doesn't get all the way up to 100 or so. Maybe it is just a way to make an extra $5,000, $10,000 a year. It's my knowledge level. Using the dirt that has never been planted on before is a difficult thing to just start up. Well, because I haven't. That's the lack of knowledge that I have. Making sure that my solution has a certain amount of whatever to yield me what I need here seems a lot easier than farming, tilling. I don't have a tiller.
So for the first 5 years, you're going to be pretty much investing everything you make plus some back into it, right? Because obviously you're gonna take money out of your pocket to do this. That's $1,000 that you're only making $200 a year off of.
No, that's not per year, that's per month.
Or per 4 weeks. Then you got another $1,000 per 4 weeks, another $1,000 per 4 weeks. So you're throwing everything back into it to try and do it. Maybe this month you buy 1, maybe next month you buy 2, maybe next month you buy 3, and so on and so forth. And you keep investing it. And you're saying by the end of year number 5 that you feel like you'll be able to make about $260,000 a year on sales.
By year 5, all by myself, it would probably be more like, I mean, if I worked really hard, I guess I could get it to 100, but 100 would be stretching it. You know, that's $100,000 in total investments on things. So I have to make $100,000 in the next 5 years. That gets back into the business.
So you're thinking 5 years from now you can be at 100,000, not 260.
Well, these assets alone would cost $100,000. So somewhere in that 5 years, I had made $100,000 and reinvested it back into the asset.
So we're talking at the end of a 5-year period of time. Where will you be if you took all your stuff, sold everything, and stood naked in the street with nothing but some money?
Like the cash or liquidating the asset?
Liquidate everything. You walking away with what?
There'd be $120,000 in that.
So about $120,000 worth of profit if you sold everything and that was it?
Yeah.
Okay. What y'all think? Is there more to this?
What?
Is there more to this?
That's my.
I don't have an issue with that. I farmed for at least 15 years of my life. I farmed. Hated every aspect of it. And as long as Kroger and Publix are out there, I will never farm again. There's no chance of it at all. And that's me, not necessarily you. But we used to plant 100 acres of watermelons, and we would farm them, and we would hoe them, and we would do beans, and we would do corn, and we would do all this other crazy stuff. And it was from daylight to dark, you worked in those fields and you worked on that stuff. And that was not the life I wanted. I wasn't looking for that. So when I left that life, I never went back. So this is Nick's way. Y'all let us know what you think. So here's my way. I'm going to go out over that 5-year period of time. and I'm going to buy 3 greenhouses, 1 red hotel. Then I am going to rinse and repeat. Different concept. Why is one better than the other? Am I out of frame or no? I'm good. I'm good right here.
Right.
Why is one better than the other?
I mean, I would get into that game if I had 40, 90 grand to get into that game.
So, Nick said he will get into that game if he could get 40 or 90 grand to be able to get into that game. How many people do you think watching this video is thinking the same thing?
Probably a few.
Most of them, right?
Yeah.
I'd say most of them. So what is the solution? So to go out, I got a house under contract right now, right? For $170,000. So if I got a house under contract right now for $170,000, that will rent for $1,800 a month. Can you find a house right now for $170,000 that will rent for $1,800 a month? Can anyone watching this video
Yeah,
do
they're
the
out
same
there.
thing? They're there. Are they easy to find?
Probably not. No.
No, you have looked and looked and looked. They're hard to find.
Yeah.
They're hard to
There's
find.
not very many sub $200,000
No.
houses that are
But the
livable.
more people you talk to, this $170,000 house I'm buying, did I go out and find this house?
Yeah.
No,
Oh.
I did not. Somebody that knew I buy houses called me. So as you're out there talking to different people saying, hey, I want to buy a house, I want to buy a house, I want to buy a house. As you're out there trying to do that, you are going to have people that have your number, and eventually they're going to call you and they're going to reach out to you. And y'all can do the exact same thing. So I got a $170,000 house I'm going to buy, and let's say I want to finance it. So the bank says you got to put 20% down. What's 20% of that? I don't know. I have to get a calculator out.
Looking about 30,000.
Let's see, 34,000. So I got to come up with 34K to buy this deal. Where do I get 34K?
Well, that was kind of the plan a little bit for this. I mean, things would get scaled to a certain extent.
Yeah, but we're 5 years out. I don't have 5 years. I'm 56 years old. I'll be 61 in 5 years.
But I think I would have once I get about the 34,000 or something, you know, maybe the next investment is going straight into, I do have to scale this for a little bit, but like a year or 2, 3 years later, I have the 34 that can go into a house.
Okay. How hard is it to come up with $34,000?
I mean, some people will never do it.
Most people will never do it. But how hard is it really?
I mean, it's not easy
Why is it not easy?
because, like, it's just not.
I could go to work every day and get off work, get in my truck and Uber the next 4 or 5 hours of the night. And I could very easily save up $34,000 in a year doing that. Uber on my weekends, Uber on my days off. I sacrifice my time for money. And then eventually my money makes me money. I could offer my grandfather, 8% interest if he'll let me borrow the $34,000. So he lets me borrow the $34,000. I do it. I pay him his money. I make the property where it'll cash flow. And I think the property will cash flow with that. If I was paying him 8% on that, you could still make a cash flow. And if it cash flowed, now I might not be making a ton of money, if any money, on my cash flow of the property, but I am making 10% on appreciation. I am not paying tax on a profit because I do get to use the depreciation on that. So that eats up my profit off of anything if I had it. Plus it combines too, so it builds up, and whenever my profits get better, it's still there. I don't lose what I don't use. Then I get my principal reduction, which on that note will probably be about close to $4,000 the first year that I would get. I would make that $4,000 also. Whose money's invested in it? Grandpa's, not mine. Is Grandpa happy? He's getting 8% return on his investment. He's happy with that because Is he guaranteed that at the bank? Is he guaranteed that in the market? No. There's a lot of people pulling money out of the market right now because they're scared to death in the market. So they're going to sit on that money. I have somebody that's a friend of mine that just yesterday, they found out that interest rates are supposed to be going down in the next couple of weeks. So if interest rates are going to be going down, then the CD market is going to go down also, right? So if interest rates drop, the rates, CDs are paying like 5% right now. CDs will drop down to 4% or 3%. So he went and put his money into a CD, a 6-month CD, 7-month CD, whatever, for 5% so that he could make that percentage off of that because he's worried about it. So if he was willing to tie that money up for months at 5%, would that same person give you that same money for 8%?
Yeah.
Yes. Well, can y'all do that exact same thing? Absolutely, you can. You can. So we get that $34,000, we get that house. Now we're making more than $20,000 a year off of that house. How much did we sacrifice? If Grandpa gave me all the money, I didn't sacrifice anything. Not even any time, really. If I have to go back now, if you can agree to do that for 3 years before you pay Grandpa back, 3 years from now you do a cash out refi. Your rents have went up 3 to 5% every single year for those 3 years. Now you got enough money to cash flow to pay him off completely, and you still have a little extra money, and then go do it. You do this on year number 1. You could do the same thing on year number 2. How much work is in this right now? I'm gonna tell you right now, this house is in great shape that I'm looking at. This house we're talking about for $170,000 needs nothing at all done to it at all. So for me, I can do that deal, and when that deal is done, and I'm gonna put a $500 a year maintenance fee on that I'm gonna pay. I'm gonna include it in my numbers when I run my numbers, and in the end, I got nothing. My money is making me money. Grandpa's money is making me money. I don't even have any money invested in the deal. What's your thoughts?
My thoughts are.
And I'm not talking shit about what you got right here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying, if you're doing this to do this, I think you can be so much further. You can be done with the 3 greenhouses in those 5 years, easy. You could be done with those 3 greenhouses. And let's say at the end of those 5 years, let's not call this a red hotel, let's just call it a red quad, 4-unit building. It ain't gotta be a hotel. It's just something else that's got a little bit more value, a little bit bigger deal, let you make a little bit more money. It could be a duplex.
Yeah.
Yeah, so let's start there. So we got 4. It kills the Monopoly game experience when I do this, but okay. So we got 4 greenhouses, and then we got 1 red duplex.
Yeah, that's a good look at duplex.
We get so caught up in the minutia of getting this done and how can we do it. Your generation is extremely concerned about environment. Our country seems like they're extremely concerned about our environment. You know who's not concerned about our environment?
The government.
Other countries. The government really isn't either. The government regulations on the environment makes the government money. That's why the government's saying anything. You look at China and you look at other countries, they don't give a rat's ass about the environment. China put plans in place that they're going to do this and they're going to reach these emissions, but they're going to reach these emissions in 20 years, not now. They're going to do as much as they want to do right now, where the people that live in that country have so much smoke and all, they got to wear a mask just to breathe outside. So that's not a country that cares about their environment. I mean, we are one of the cleanest countries around, not the cleanest, but one of the cleanest, and we're in great shape. So I'm not saying don't worry about the environment. What I'm saying is, how do we get you to the point that your money is making you money? You're no longer having to work for a job. You work because you want to. You work because it's a passion. And I'm struggling with everything right now because I don't have to work anymore and I don't know what to do with my time. So all I really want to do is work. Hell, it's so bad I thought about going to get a job at Lowe's. But then I thought, well, why would I go work at Lowe's for 40 hours? Go build a freaking house on your own and just do the work yourself.
Right.
So I just need to do something a little bit different.
Yeah, my older brother and I had a conversation about kind of like that. What would you do if, you weren't had $10 million or something, and you make $17,500 a month, and very consistent, and like you don't need to do anything anymore. Kind of like what you're talking about. It's a big question. I don't have an answer. But I think my biggest obstacle on this is, even if grandfather loves me, why does he think that I'm capable of buying this house, using his money, being on top of making sure it's rented, and like I've never done it before? Why does he think I'm capable? Why would he trust that?
Why would Grandpa trust you? Good answer, good question. I think one thing is for sure, any and all of our relatives want us all to be successful. If Grandpa has the extra money for that right there, and you show him a house, and you say, I'm paying $170,000 for this house. You take him, you show him the house, he looks at the house. And you say, Grandpa, until I pull your name off of it, I'll put your name on the deed of this house. So it's your house and his house. Okay? You got the loan, Grandpa still got his name on that deed. Or maybe you do a promissory note tying it to the deed for him. Whatever you got to do as far as the bank is concerned for that. Does he have any risk?
I mean, yeah, he's putting the control or just the management or the oversight, the eyeballs on me. And I could fail.
Okay, so the question is the house truly worth 170 or is it worth 140? If it's worth 170 and you fail, can Grandpa still sell it for 170?
Yeah, I guess so.
He can still sell it for 170. He can still get his money out. Is it going to be easy? It might be a little bit more work. But the question is, what's your relationship with Grandpa?
Or whoever.
What is it? I mean, if it's a good relationship, then he's going to be there to help you too. What if Grandpa does construction for a living? Say, yeah, I'll help you. I'll give you some advice, and I'll walk through this with you. Let's do it. Let's get you a house. There are tons and tons of syndicators in our country, right? So syndicators are people that go out and they'll bring in a pool of investors to buy an apartment complex, an office building, maybe even just a house. They just bring 5 people in, and maybe they bring 500 people in to do a deal. And it works on both scenarios. Most of the buildings, the high-rise buildings you see in your city, they were bought by a large group of investors, all pooled their money together. They built the deal. They may have went a couple of years with not making any money, and now they're making some money. Then they do a cash-out refi. They get paid off. They're still in the deal and hanging on. That's a syndication deal. So how hard is it? How hard do you think it would be for me to go out and get investors to give me money?
Not very hard. You have a proven track record.
I have an extremely proven track record. I could probably say on this video that I'm looking for $1 million, and I bet you I could pull that $1 million in by next week. I'm not looking for any money, by the way. But if I was, there are people out there that trust me enough that would easily give me money. I've had people call me, I have them call me all the time asking me, you have anything I can invest with you on? And I've just never had partners, so I'm a little hesitant on it. I struggle with it, and that's just been me. But I have a lot of friends that do syndications, and they have money. We saw the lady that came in 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, maybe a month ago. They came in and talked to me, wanting to do some deals, and she's wanting to invest with me. And she has a proven track record of what she does, and she is very proven. She says she can come up with a couple $1 million to invest a month.
A month?
A month. So if I wanted to do investments with her, she could come up with a couple $1 million a month, and we could do the deals. So if that happens with me, that can happen with you. What it takes is 3 green houses, 1 red duplex. If you have 3 successful rental houses and you got 1 red duplex over here successful, people start taking recognition of you just with those 5 properties or 4 properties. 5 doors, 4 properties. Just with those 4 doors. They start taking recognition of you. And you keep doing it. And you just find one person. There's a lot of business owners out there that would love to have somebody, hey, I don't want to do this freaking work. I want to go to work. I want to make my money. I want to go home, and I don't worry about anything. And you tell them, all I need you to do is be the money guy. You can have half of everything we do, and let's just do some deals. How many people out there do that? There's a lot that do that. And there's a lot of partnerships that fail, but there's also a lot of partnerships that are very successful. And all that depends on who you are and what you're about, who the partner you pick is and what they're about. You know, if they're controlling and you're out there, you're supposed to be the one doing all the work, they're going to control you enough, you're not going to like it. You're going to hate that. So they need to give you the freedom. You need to set those, these are the, I'm doing this in 6 weeks, this is what's going to happen, and you need to hold to what you tell them you're going to do so that nobody has to hold you accountable or anything like that. I mean, there's a lot to be said with just doing what you're supposed to do. Comments? Questions? Comments? Questions? What you think about Nick's haircut?
You like it? I just got it cut
Remember he had that long hair before? He shaved it all off?
a couple days ago.
Looking good, looking good.
Yeah, I don't mind it.
I love that shirt. That's an incredible looking shirt.
I don't know where I got this, but
Yeah, but that's
Kinda
kind of
just-
sporting it.
found it at the bottom of my dirty laundry hamper.
If you live in the Nashville area, I live in Millersville, Tennessee. My office is in Millersville, Tennessee. And I'm wanting to see if we have an interest for people out there in this local area that would want to do a bi-weekly or monthly, let's say a monthly meetup. How many people? If you are interested in doing a monthly meetup, what do you need to write that at? Just in the comments on this video?
Definitely, yeah. Say I would go to the meetup in the comment section, and we'll count how many kind of people.
Yeah, I mean, if we can get enough people to want to do that, I will sponsor that at my office every month, and that way we're not paying for a building or anything. It's easy to get to. It's easy to do it, but we'll come in and we'll do a meetup and we'll talk about real estate stuff and we'll talk about investing and we'll talk about building and we'll talk about land development and whatever else anybody else wants to talk about. We can bring in different people to speak and talk about different issues, and I think that could be a good thing, but that might not be a bad idea.
And I mean, like you're saying, if you're trying to get $34,000 from your grandfather or somebody that trusts you or whatever, and then having a monthly meetup of local people around here, I feel like I would probably be able to meet somebody that does want to invest.
So if you're an investor out there and you would be interested in something like this, let us know that also. And we can publicly run numbers on deals and stuff and say, hey, Jim wants to partner with Nick on this job. Is this a good partnership for him? And we run numbers, and we run those numbers so much that Jim knows that the deal is a great deal and that he has basically zero potential to lose his money. And that is what the deals I'm looking for. I'm looking for a deal that there's no chance of me losing money. And I look at this house right here as there's no chance I can lose money with it. I mean, it's a good buy, it's a good deal, it's in a great area, it's on a great road, a lot of traffic. It will rent. I own houses next to it that I rent for $2,000 a month, same size houses. So I know for a fact I'll get a minimum of $1,800 a month for it.
And then it's always just going to kind of increase with the appreciation.
8% interest. So we talked about giving Grandpa 8% interest, right? So let's say we give Grandpa 8% interest. At 8% interest, we already know that a $170,000 property will probably yield a couple of $100 a month positive cash flow if it's in great shape. So we know at 8% we can pay 8%. And now if interest rates drop 1% or 0.5% or whatever, you know it's going to be a little bit better. Let's say interest rates drop to 5%, cash out refi, pay off Grandpa. Now it's all done. You own the whole house and your note's the same. Don't make life more difficult than what life is. Simplify it, go down to the basic steps of how you want to do things and how you think things should roll, and do it through the basic steps. Rinse and repeat, rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat. We do not have to reinvent the wheel. Now, if hydroponics is something that Nick wants to do because Nick has a passion for something like that, then that's fine. But if Nick is looking for this to build his portfolio, I would skip that. I would go straight to this. But if Nick wants to do that, then do that and find a way to do both of them at the same time, and maybe they can actually offset and help each other at the same time too. Maybe the houses help this part.
Or this is just a hobby that ends up actually
Absolutely,
a slight profit.
I mean, but there is no right or wrong. Well, there's a lot of right answers. There's not a lot of wrong answers out there. I mean, get your goals set, get what you want to do, understand it, and just do it. The worst thing you can ever do is sit on your behind and a year later you still don't have a single piece of property. That's not good. I can't tell you how many people I've talked to for more than 10 to 20 years that have told me for 20 years they want to get in real estate. But for 20 years they have still never bought even one property outside of their personal residence.
Yeah, that's a long time.
So how do you fix that? You can't fix it because they are not willing to sacrifice. The juice is not worth the squeeze. The time they got to put into it for the money they get out of it, they do not feel like it's worth it. Why else would somebody not do it?
There's a lot of work to it, and they might not have the complete knowledge or the right property management, and there's a lot of stress to it.
So you do a $170,000 house, rent it out for $1,800 a month, and let's say you're making 8% year one. What you making on year number 5? Still making you 8%?
On year number 5, we should be able to, hopefully we could cash out refi, and that would go up a lot. You're making 8% compounded.
Well, you're making the 8%. So let's say, and we'll just...
So you're still making 8%?
No. So you're making the 8%, but I ain't gonna erase anything. So let's say you're making, on a $170,000 house, 8% will probably be about $1,700 a month. That's what our typical calculations have done, right? If we're making 1%, then it'll cover the 8% barely, maybe $100 extra a month or so, right?
Right.
So if we were only getting $1,700, is 8%. What are we getting on year number 2? Rents lag construction, right?
Right.
Rents lag appreciation. So if rents lag appreciation, so we go back and we say, okay, we got $1,700, and then the next year we're going to increase that by 5%. That's $85. So now we're at $1,785. Then we take that $1,785 times another 5%. That's going to put us at $1,959. Then we take that $1,959. This is the end of year number 1, going into year number 2 on it, year number 3. I'm sorry. That's going to be $2,115. So just in that amount of time, we've increased our cash flow from $1,700 to $2,100. That's what, $300, $400? So at least $300. So let's just say 300, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21.
Yeah.
$300, $400. 17, 18, 19, 20, 20, $400. So we've increased it $400. So now, if we look at that 400 times 12, we've increased our cash flow $4,800 that year. So if we said we were making 8% off of that, I would guarantee that number is going to be closer to 13% at that particular point in time.
Because once you equate that 5%
This compounds.
compounding on the rent,
That compounds.
your normal, the 8% is still off of like your investment.
So the 8% right here is return on investment.
Yeah.
From here on out, as we get appreciation and everything, now we're getting return on equity, right?
Right, because the asset itself is growing, and that is equity.
Now we can still look at it and do a return and run a number return on what our investment was, but our equity in that property, the time in that property. It's not time on the market, it's time in the market, right?
Right.
It's not time that it takes to buy that property, it's the time you stay into that property. And it compounds. At 8%, how long does it take to double your money?
That sounds like a good 5 year.
9
double?
years.
9 years.
So at 5%, oh, that was at 5%, right? Was that at 5%?
Well,
Hold
it's
on.
like 7% was like a.
Hold on. No, at 8%,
You double your money.
you double. I don't know what's going on with my phone. 72 divided by 8 is 9 years. So every 9 years. So at 8%, you double your investment every 9 years. So the property value becomes double. Now, are you going to be able to achieve the same 8% or that number's going to go up, but are you going to achieve the same thing? You're going to probably double your money or double the rents every 12 years or so, because they're going to double at a little smaller rate.
5%.
Now you may, I mean, because we had a couple of years ago, rents were going up 12%. You had people going up 12 and 15% on the rents to catch up. So it should be the same as the 8% if that's what the appreciation is, but it may fluctuate a little bit. But either way, it goes up year after year after year. This is your money making you money. Let us know what you think in the comments. Let's go look at his farmhouse.
Okay.
You look confused.
No, I'm not confused at all. Like I really do get it.
So what's your impression about what we started with?
What do you mean?
Everything's the same? Your mindset change any?
Well, so like I was kind of hinting at, maybe this is just a hobby.
Maybe. But it doesn't mean you can't do it. I mean,
Right. And I guess, I really just need to get good at finding a entrance level deal, and then trying to find somebody that wants to partner with me on it and is willing to let me cash out refi in maybe 5 years, pay them back. If that's how I end up paying them back, I could probably just immediately through the cash flow, immediately pay them back slowly but surely on the 30th.
How hard is it to get people to understand this?
For somebody that's never seen it before, and people with 34K that want to invest but have never even thought about real estate possibly, it could be pretty difficult to explain.
I have a friend of mine, and she has at least $600,000 equity in her home. And she makes good money, but she spends all of her money. So you look at the future and what's going to come in the future when you don't make as good a money as you're making right now. What happens? What happens when people make a great paycheck and then they retire? Now they drop from maybe $5,000 to $10,000 a month in income to $2,200 a month, and that's all you're gonna get the rest of your life.
Right.
Maybe a little bump here or there, but that's it. How do they have to make an extreme lifestyle change to survive in that market, right?
Yeah.
Is that what you really want?
No, not at all.
Because all of us that work for somebody else all of us are gonna eventually make a change and say, you know what, I'm 60 years old, I'm 70 years old, I can't work like I used to, I just don't want to. And you figure, I'll live on a lot less than what I used to live on. That's all I'm gonna do. And that is fine. But this young lady that I'm talking about that has a $600,000 equity in her house, I told her, I said, pull the equity out to build another house. I will build the house for you for free. Just pull it out. If you want to partner with me on a deal, we will partner on another piece of land that I own, and we will build the deal, and I will do it all. You put your money into it. When we finish the house, we'll do a cash out refi, pay you off 100% of your money, You have nothing left in that deal, no money at all, but you're still making money. But we've talked about that forever, and it's never happened.
Really?
It hasn't happened because she's still very comfortable in her environment. She has not hit a point in her environment yet that says, oh, hell, what am I going to do about this? Gotcha. And typically when you get that oh, hell moment and you're trying to figure it out, it's too late. It's too late. And it's too late why? It's too late why? Because time in this housing market is so much more valuable than the time on this housing market. You got to get in it, and you got to let that money compound. We've talked about it long enough, her and I have talked about this long enough, that she would have already doubled that $170,000 worth of money. But yet she still has not done it. How many of you out there are on that same fence? You want to do it. You watch these videos. I used to go to classes with people for years. And every single year or every single month, we would end up at a class. And when I'm talking about a class, we would fly to Texas, we would fly to Seattle, we'd fly to Arizona, we'd fly somewhere else, a different state. We would spend $400 a night in hotels, because they always had nice hotels. We would pay for the event, and we would pay for everything else, food, you know. I went and had 2 glasses of wine last night with my wife. And those 2 glasses of wine with my wife was over $100 for 2 glasses of wine.
Dang, $50 each
for a glass of wine.
Wow.
A glass of wine. So that's a great mindset. And I can go pay $100 for a glass of wine because my rent pays for that glass of wine. I'm not even paying for it. I make rental income that pays for it. I make no money outside of rental income. But my assets are making me money. So if things are that expensive and going up that much, how do we fix that? We fix that by realizing maybe I don't need that $100 glass of wine right now, or 2 glasses of wine. Maybe what I need to do right now is invest some money and make that money make me money. And then I'm going to enjoy that glass of wine. Maybe I don't need that brand new Corvette right now. Maybe I need to live in a world where I drive my old beat up pickup truck for a little bit longer and let my money pay for that new Corvette. Robert Kiyosaki's book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, great book to read. It'll explain that concept in it on how you take your assets and let your assets pay for your pleasures in life.
So I need to find somebody that's willing to give me about $34,000 to $50,000 of down payment money at a 8% rate of payback. And
so I have never invested with people before, so it's kind of hard for me to talk about this. But I have a lot of friends that have invested with people. A lot of friends. Most of my friends have invested with other people. And most of the people we deal with in real estate have invested with other people. I'm just saying I haven't. But I can tell you that without exception, not one person that I talk to about investing in real estate ever says they're worried about finding the money. Everyone says if you have the deal, the money will come to you. It is easy to find the money once you have a good deal. And if you go to any real estate seminars, if you go to any real estate meetup groups, if you go to your RIA that's in your state or your town, your city, you go to those RIAs, you will always have people that will tell you the money is not your problem. You are hung up on this money thing. I am personally hung up on the money thing. I don't have enough money to do this. And we just talked. I just told you I can go grab money anytime I want to grab money from people.
Right.
But I've been hesitant to do that. I don't want to do that personally. And that's why I haven't done it. I don't have to do it at the moment, so I just haven't done it. But if you have to do it, then you have to do it and you figure that out. You find the deal, the money will come.
Okay.
You find the deal, the money will come. It will come. If you go out and you look at wholesale sites on Facebook, you ever look at wholesale sites, lease option sites?
Yeah.
So you can go on Facebook, and they have pages that are dedicated to people that do wholesale deals. They have pages that are available to people that do lease options. And as you're looking through that, there are always comments on different people's posts. Do you need money? Do you need money? Do you need money? I'm looking for a deal to partner with somebody. I'm not looking for a deal to do on my own. There are a lot of people out there. And you can find those on different Facebook groups. You can find people that are looking for money.
Looking for money or looking for a
Or
property?
people, well, you find people that are looking for money, and you find people that are looking for a project to invest in.
Yeah. 'Cause I need somebody that wants to partner on that.
Hey, if y'all would, write something in the comments on that. If you've seen some people out there that have money and they're really just looking for somebody that's got a good deal that they can invest in. They're there. They're there.
How would I, get that deal? In a sense, it's like, it's just find it on Zillow, find it on the.
So let me ask you a question. You and I have been doing this for a year and 9 months now, right?
Mm-hmm.
So how much time do you spend right now looking for a deal a week?
Not really much.
So how are you going to find a deal if you don't spend any time looking for a deal? I used to spend 6 hours a
It's
day.
just because I decided, like, for now, like, that's not what I'm trying to do right now.
Okay. I used to spend 6 hours a day looking for deals.
Yeah.
I was on Zillow all the time. I was on Redfin. I was on every site out there looking at stuff. I was looking at stuff on Facebook. I was looking at articles from people that they were writing. I was looking for anything and everything I could find to do that. It's not a deal that's going to come to you. It's something you're going to make happen. Then you're going to have to sacrifice time to make that happen.
Yeah. Do I have to get it under any
It's
sort
like me. I want to learn Spanish. You know, I'm looking to plan a trip to Medellin, Colombia,
Nice.
and if I'm going to go there, I want to be able to speak more Spanish than what I speak right now. But yet, I have not invested any time in learning more Spanish.
Hey, it's hard.
Is it because I can't learn Spanish?
No.
No, it's because I'm not willing to put in the time to learn Spanish. Same concept?
Right.
Same concept?
Kind of. The thing is, I could search and search and search and search and not find anything. Whereas you can study, and you will
Did
learn
y'all
something.
just hear Nick say he can search and search and search and can't find? I just had somebody give me this deal for free.
Well,
They
I know.
called me up and said, hey, come to my house. I want to talk to you about this.
Right, but the thing is, for the
No, if you sit at home on your sofa, you will never find it. You have to go meet people. How many of the real groups have you been to?
it's long shot.
It's not a long shot. It is not a long shot.
Really?
No. That's a hit.
But that's why people go to work, because they get paid for their time. Whereas a
It's
lot of this
easy.
is
It's no. It's easy to go to work and stamp a clock and get a check every week. It's easy.
yeah.
But then you get caught. Why in the world did you quit working for AT&T?
Well, because it was annoying.
Okay. But you were sick of punching that clock, right?
Yeah.
You were sick of punching a clock for money.
Yeah.
So all these people that are out there punching a clock for money, and they might make $1 million a year, and they might make $20,000 a year. I don't know what they're making. But most people get irritated punching that clock trying to make money. But they're still not willing to do what it takes to have to quit punching that clock and do that. Now you took your first step on that. You started doing the videography stuff that you do. You picked up more clients. You're doing that. The next step is to figure out whether you're going to follow a path of buying another business and you managing your own business at that point, which you got a job at that point, or are you going to go with the real estate part, which you somewhat got a job, because it's not all passive income. There's some active stuff that's got to go in with it also. There's none of this stuff that's complete. I'm not going to say none of it's completely passive, but
Right.
most of it isn't. If you're going with something that is 100% passive, let's say you go buy a Dollar General at a 6 cap. Okay, you're not making a lot of money at a 6 cap, but they're going to sign a 20-year lease with you where they take care of 100% everything. That money comes to your mailbox every single month, and the only thing you got to do is deposit that check in the bank. There are those deals, but I think that's probably where I could be in my life right now. I could sell all my properties off that I have a lot of active time in, and I could go buy something like Dollar Generals and stores like that would give me a 20-year yield. 20 years from now, I'll probably be dead. So, it'd cover me the rest of my life. And my kids will still inherit the properties. But what they're inheriting is not what I want.
Yeah.
Just think outside the box. Think outside the box. Listen to these videos more than one time. There's so much truth in all of this right here. And it is not easy. This ain't easy. If it was easy, you would have already done it, right? You and I have talked about several properties. We haven't looked at properties. We've talked to people. It's not easy.
And I haven't not.
But that's why people quit, right?
Yeah.
That's why the competition is so small, because it's too hard, too much time, too much this, too much that for other people. This is not some video of somebody out there telling you, real estate, you're going to be a millionaire in 5 weeks, 3 years, 12 months. I'm not telling you that. I'm going to tell you, you're going to get out there, you're going to work your ass off to achieve what you achieve. The harder you work, the faster you achieve it. If you're not willing to work, don't jump in this game, because it is not a game for weak. It's a game for somebody that's got enough strength to get out there and bust ass until you don't have to. And make that money make you money.
Yeah. I guess I'm also just kind of annoyed at how many fruitless nights how many fruitless nights in a row that I've spent trying to do something of the sort. So it kind of got annoying. And then, I still have bills, so I just had to come up with different ways to make money.
So how many times do you fail before you quit?
Oh, I mean,
on a proven, on something
it's
that's
whether
proven,
or not
on
you
something that's
quit
proven. How
or
many
get
times do you
pushed out, in the sense that it didn't work and you have bills to pay and you have to do this now, and then you just you missed your.
But how many people have come to our real estate seminars that have young people that have 10 properties and stuff, and they have all those properties? They had to do it somehow.
Yeah,
you may have 100 failures. So what?
Different.
All you need is one success.
Yeah.
The failures don't matter. One success.
Just one freaking time.
One freaking time. That's it. But if you don't go out there and beat them doors, you're not going to find it. It's there. And I'm telling all of y'all in this video, it's there. Nobody's going to come knock on your door and say, you want to buy my house? Unless people know that you buy houses. Once they know you buy houses, do you have a chance? Yeah. The more people that know you buy houses, do you have more of a chance? Yeah. The more you get involved with your community, the more you're going to get opportunity from your community. The more you get involved with your city, the more opportunity you're going to get with your city. Because they always have stuff that's coming up. If they know they have an investor that's looking to buy a piece of property, then they're going to throw it at you, because they just want to sell a piece of property. I have people call me all the time. Do you want to sell this piece of property? No. Do you want to sell this piece of property? No. I asked somebody this morning, you want to sell this piece of property? No. They still calling me though. And eventually I'm going to want to sell that property. And you know who's going to get that property when I want to sell it? Whoever calls me next.
Yeah.
Because I'm not writing down none of the numbers of the people that are calling me on my telephone. I'm usually irritated and just hang up. But when I'm ready to sell it, I had people ask me to buy my company. Can I buy your company? No. Can I buy your company? No. Can I buy your company? No. One day, I'm driving to work and I'm pissed off. And I say, I'm selling this company. And I made one phone call. And the next week I had 3 men in my house from a different state discussing buying that property, that building from me. No, not the building, but the business.
Yeah.
And then once somebody else heard that they were looking at it, they called me. You want to sell your company? I said, well, I already got so-and-so looking at the company. Well, we want it. I said, first person that's come up with the cash gets the company. And the second company that called me, not the one that I called, the company that called me was the one that bought it. And it happened within like a 2-week period of time. Now, it took me 3 months to do all of the sales because it was a pretty hefty deal. But that's how it works. You're healthy, right? And you're healthy until you're not healthy anymore. But typically, once you're unhealthy, maybe it's something that you can't correct anymore. But had you stayed healthy the whole time, you would have never gotten sick. So you want to change it at this one particular moment in your life, and it's too late to change it. If you want to get healthy on your finances, now's the time to start. And it's not going to automatically be something that's going to happen in 2 months or 6 months. But it might happen in 6 months. It might happen in 2 months. I told you when I did Rich Dad Education that I bought a house every month for 36 months straight. I would go to the class and I would come home and I would buy a house every single month. And then it was my determination that I didn't want to show up at the next month's event and not be able to say that I did not buy a house.
Right.
So then that drove me.
And deadlines and stuff. I mean, what if I said, okay, I have 31 days from now to find a deal, find an investor, make that happen. That's actually possible. It would just be an insane goal and time frame together, but it might be what people need to like have the gut. You give yourself 6 months and fucking it won't happen. Give yourself a month or wait too
But goals
short.
goals are your solution though. If you don't have any goals.
Yeah.
And I know that you had come up with goals. But those goals weren't rock solid because you did not complete the goals.
Right.
If you're gonna go with goals, you complete your goals. If you're gonna set your goals, hey, I'm gonna buy one house this year. Now that freaking is gonna happen. And it's gonna happen regardless. You're gonna find that deal and you're gonna buy that house. Otherwise, you failed with your goals. And make your goals realistic. Make them something that's attainable and you can go do, measurable. Make them what they need to be. But if you make that goal, then you make that goal happen if you're committed to it. And if you're not committed to it, you will fail. But if you are committed to it, it will happen. It will happen. All right, let's rock and roll.
Let's go check out Mansker.
Let's do it.